I hope you are ready for this question we have on the board. This is Jamb Mathematics 2020 question number 1. We are going to use the knowledge of what I explained to you about fraction, simplification of fraction, about Bodmas, about number of terms, about basic knowledge of fractions to solve these. So if you've not gotten the basic idea of simplification, please make sure you visit our previous video that explains how we can carry out simplification of fractions, the things you need to know. I'm going to be fast in solving this question here on the board. Are you ready? So let us go. We're given 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 3 divided by bracket 1 plus 2 over 3 of 6 over 7. This is the question given to us to simplify. Now we're going to proceed following the rule of Bodmas. You know you need to trash out the bracket first. So do we have brackets in this expression here? Oh yes, I've got this bracket here. In fact, if you look at these whole questions, if I ask you how many terms do we even have in this question, will you be shocked to hear from me that we have just 3 terms in this question? Let's count it and see. Remember, plus and minus is what we use in counting our terms. So we go. This 1 is 1 term. After that, you have your plus, so 2 over 3 makes it another term. So how many terms from here to here? 2. After these terms, you have minus. So the next thing you meet will make it term number 3. This whole bracket is taken as one thing. Now, before this bracket, you have this sign, division. Do you use division and multiplication to count the number of terms? No. We only use plus and minus to count number of terms. Which means that all these things you are seeing here is just one term. All these things is just what? One term. And therefore, you must deal with all those things, before you start thinking about this part. Why does he must deal with all these things? Bracket is here. According to Bodmas, you deal with bracket first. So let us go. I'll bring down 1 plus 2 over 3, then minus 3 divided by, let's look at what we have in the brackets. This is 1 plus 2 over 3 of 6 over 7. Now in this bracket, just here, how many terms we have just in this bracket? This is just like a house. So we have just 2 terms. Are you aware? Because you have only 1 clause there. So this is 1 term. This whole term, 2 over 3 of 6 over 7, is another term, making it how many? 2. So we need to work out this part first before we add to this part. Remember, we have off there. So this is going to be 1 plus 2 over 3. The off, when working with it, we interpret it to be multiplication. 6 over 7. So with this, we can work out this. We can divide, since there are terms that can divide here. Remember, according to Bodmas, you are expected to do division before multiplication. And that is very important because it helps you to break down your number, to reduce your number. And then make the process quite easy for you to work. If you multiply this out before dividing, it will be a bit tougher to divide. So we're going to divide 3 here, 1. 3 here is what? 2. And so this is going to give us, there's nothing I can divide through there again, 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 3 divided by, open bracket, 1 plus, then we now have 2 times 2, multiplication of fractions. I've explained all of this in the previous introductory video. 2 times 2 is going to give us 4 over 1 times 7 will give us 7. Now this is equal to 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 3 divided by, open bracket, work out the LCM of these. When you are adding fractions or subtracting fractions, you work out the LCM. Now, this is the fraction, we are adding it to this whole number. The LCM is 7. But the fastest way to work out this LCM, since this is a whole number, is to use this denominator to multiply this whole number, then plus the numerator here. If this is minus, it will be minus the numerator. So let us do that. 7 times 1 will give us 7. Then add it to this 4, you get 11 over 7. We are moving on. That is going to be equal to 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 3. I told you something about division of fraction. Remember here we have 3 terms. I've told you right from the beginning. Term 1, 2, and this whole thing 3. And you know you need to handle this part first because of the operations you have there. You have bracket, you have division. Good enough, this bracket is only one term we have there, 11 over 7. So we can actually open up the bracket. But before the bracket, you have division. Now you have 3 divided by this fraction. What do you do? Let me show you something quickly. You need to change something, you know. 3 divided by 11 over 7 is the same as 3 all over 11 over 7. This 3 standing alone is the same as 3 over 1 all over 11 over 7. When you are dividing fraction, what do? You keep the numerator exactly as it is. So 3 over 1 is the same as 3 over 1. This major division sign, change it to multiplication and inverse the denominator fraction. 7 will go up, 11 will come down. So that thing becomes 3 times 7 divided by 1 times 11. And we are going to get what there? 21 over 11. Okay, let's do that. 3 times, coming here, I will inverse 7 over 11. And that is going to give us 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 21 over 11. At this point, we have 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 21 over 11. It's very clear to you now that we have how many terms? Just 3 terms. I'm following the rule of Bodmas, so I'm going to add this part first. Again, this is a whole number added to a fraction. So you work out the LCM. But I can actually work out everything once here using the LCM to be 33. Since it's only plus and minus that I have here, no other sign, you know, no other disturbing sign or operation, I can simply work it once. But I don't want to do that. Let's still follow the rule of Bodmas. I will do addition first before getting to what? Subtraction. Alright, now we have 1 plus 2 over 3. If you work out the LCM of this, use the denominator to multiply this whole number. You have 3 times 1, which is 3, add it to 2. So that's going to be equal to 5 over the denominator 3 minus 21 over 11. Okay, at this point, we now have just 2 terms. What's the LCM of the denominator? I told you already that when you are adding or subtracting fractions, don't wait for anybody to tell you that you need to work out the problem with LCM. So here, the LCM of the denominator is 33. Let me write LCM of 3 and 11 is 33. So this will now be equal to the LCM, which is 33. 33 divided by these 3 will give you 11. 11 times 5 is 55. Then minus 33 divided by 11 will give you 3. 3 times 21 will give us 63. And if you do this, 55 minus 63, it's going to give us minus 8 over 33. In conclusion, therefore, the question given to us, which is 1 plus 2 over 3 minus 3 divided by, open bracket, 1 plus 2 over 3 of 6 over 7. The whole answer is going to give us minus 8 over 33. So the correct option in the question is what? The correct option in this Jamb question is option B. So I'm going to come here and then take this option. That's the correct answer. I hope you enjoyed this, right? Just follow along and see how I applied the rule of Bodmas and how I used the knowledge of knowing how to count the number of terms in order not to make mistake here, and how the basic knowledge of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of fraction helped me out here. On the board here we have this fun question, again from Jamb and Mattis. It's about simplification of fractions. Let us digest this question as fast can be. So what's the question? We have to simplify 2 whole number 2 over 3 times 1 whole number 1 over 2 all over 4 whole number 4 over 5. This is 2012 question number 3. Jamb and Mattis question, paper type gray. Alright, so we have 2 whole number 2 over 3 times 1 whole number 1 over 2 all over 4 whole number 4 over 5. Now once you have what we call mixed fractions. All you need to do is to convert them to improper fraction. And how do we do that? It's simple. Use the denominator to multiply the whole number and then add to the numerator. So let us do that and see. 3 times 2 will give us 6 plus 2 will give us 8 over 3. Once again, 3 times 2, the denominator times the whole number, you get 6. Add it to the numerator here, which is 2, you get 8. Divided by the given denominator. Then multiplied by 2 times 1 will give us 2. Add it to the numerator 1, there you have 3 all over 2. Then this will be all over 5 times 4 will give us 20 plus 4, 24 over 5. And so this will now give us, the numerator here is simply multiplication of fractions. So you check if there is anything that can divide through, you divide first before you multiply. Remember, according to Bodmas, you need to do division before multiplying. 8 over 3 times 3 over 2. Instead of multiplying straight 8 times 3 and 3 times 2, I would have to check for terms that can divide through. This 3 can divide this 3, you have 1, 1. Okay? Then you notice that this 2 can divide to you have 1. 2 can divide 8, it will give us what? 4. So what is left actually in the numerator is 4 times 1 divided by 1 times 1. And of course that is going to give us 4. 4 is left in the numerator, all over 24 divided by 5. Did you notice something here? We have 4 over 24 divided by 5. The numerator is a whole number, but I can still choose to write it as 4 over 1 if I want. Let's do that. This will be equal to, now 4 over 1. If I write it as 4 over 1 divided by 24 over 5, you know what to do? Change this major division to multiplication. So that's going to be 4 times, and you know you need to keep the numerator exactly as it is. Then change the division to multiplication and then inverse this denominator fraction. That's going to be 5 over 24. Okay, now looking at this, we can still divide through something. 4 can divide 24. And so we have 4 into 4, 1. 4 can divide 24 and you have 6. This needs a good knowledge of multiplication in order to be fast in division. This gives us 5 over 6. And this is a proper fraction. Nothing can reduce there again. Therefore, the question given to us, 2 whole number 2 over 3 times 1 whole number 1 over 2 all over, they will have the denominator 4 whole number 4 over 5. The result is equal to 5 over 6. 5 over 6. And that leaves us with the correct option to be what? Option C. Option C. Option C is correct. So I can go and tick. That's the solution to this. We'll take yet one more question on this simplification of fractions. This is Jamb Mathematics question number 3, the year 2008. We are asked to simplify 3 over 8 divided by 1 over 2. Put that down, 3 over 8 divided by 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3 all over 1 over 8 times 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3. How do we solve this problem? We've already laid down the principles we need. Knowledge of Bodmas, how to count number of terms, basic knowledge of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of fraction. Can we now apply this knowledge here once again and see how we solve this problem? If you look at the numerator, how many terms do you have? You'll agree with me that there are just 2 terms there. Even if from what you are saying, it might be a bit confusing to think that there are 3 terms. Our introductory video to simplification of fractions explains clearly that here in the numerator we're going to have 2 terms. In the denominator is also 2 terms. Why? Because it's only minus and plus that we use in counting the number of terms. If you look at this, 3 over 8 divided by 1 over 2, this is division. Therefore, you can't use it to say that this is 1 term, this is another term. No. Together, this 3 over 8 divided by 1 over 2 is taken as 1 term. They now have minus 1 over 3. This other one is taken as the second term. So this minus divides this into 1 term and 2 terms. The same thing here. This is 1 over 8 times 2 over 3. This is multiplication. You don't use multiplication to count number of times. So this 2 times here is taken as 1. You now have plus 1 over 3, making it the second term. And so having gotten this knowledge, what do? It means we are going to focus on this side and solve to get just that one single term there. Because you have division, you have subtraction. Division comes before in Bodmas order. So this is going to give us, I'm working out this, it's going to be 3 over 8 times 2 over 1. You know how to handle division of fractions. Minus 1 over 3. And then this is going to be all over. If you come over to this, okay, let me just bring it down, even if I can cancel from here, or I can divide from here, but let me just bring it down. At this point, you'll notice that this 2 will divide 2, you have 1, 2 will divide 8, it will give you 4. 2 into 2 here, 1, 2 into 8, you get what? 4. What will be left? 3 times 1 would give us 3, all over 4 times 1 would give us 4, then minus 1 over 3. You can see very clearly that there are actually 2 terms in the numerator. Alright, coming to the denominator, the same thing. 1 times 1 would give us 1 over 4 times 3 is 12. Then plus 1 over 3. Now in the numerator, we have these 2 fractions being subtracted. In the denominator, these 2 fractions being added. Addition and subtraction of fractions follow the principle of LCM. And so we're going to find the LCM of the numerator fraction and do same for the denominator fraction. What is the LCM of 4 and 3 in the numerator there? It's going to be 12. So this is equal to LCM in the numerator part is 12. So we have 12. Alright, so 12 divided by 4 would give us 3 times 3. So we'll have 9 there. Minus 12 divided by this 3 is 4. 4 times 1 will give us 4. All over LCM of the denominator, 12 and 3 there is going to give us 12 still. 12, okay? And then 12 divided by 12 is 1 times 1. You get 1 plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 1 will give us 4. I hope this is clear, right? Okay, now let's move on. 9 minus 4 would give us 5 over 12. Then all over 1 plus 4 would give us 5 over 12. Now the numerator is 5 over 12. The denominator has its own fraction, which is 5 over 12. When we are dividing the same thing, will the answer not be 1? If I give you something like 12 over 12 is 1, 5 over 5 is 1. So the answer of this is 1. But again, I want to show you following how we do divisions of fraction, okay? This is equal to 5 over 12. This division sign, change it to multiplication and then inverse the denominator fraction. 12 will go up, over 5 will come down. And so you see that this 5 and 5 will go, you get 1, 1. 12 and 12 will go, you get 1, 1. 1 times 1 will give you 1 over 1. And then this is actually equal to 1. Therefore, the question given to us, 3 over 8 divided by 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3, all over 1 over 8 times 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3. The result is equal to 1. The answer is 1. Answer. So what's the correct option? The correct option is, I hope you selected it, option D. And so I am going to come and tick the option D to be correct. And this is how we've come to the end of simplification of fractions. Please, our introductory video to this topic is very, very important. You want to understand all the questions we've solved. You want to be able to solve problems on fractions very easily. You want to handle anything that has to do with Bodmas. Make sure you rewatch that video again and again. In our next class, I'll be introducing you to another topic set.